I hope everyone has been doing well. So before I get into today's story, you've already seen the title, you know who we're talking about. I want to put a little bit of a disclaimer / trigger warning. We are going to be talking about sexual assault and rape today, so I want to make sure that everyone knows what we're getting into. So no one's like, oh, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Similarly to other stories that we've talked about thus far, there are multiple versions of this story, and I will delve into these multiple versions and how they differ as the story goes on. Amazing? Amazing. So for starters, it's surprisingly not that well known that Medusa was not always half woman, half snake, snake hair, turn you to stone whenever I look at you. People just think she was born like that, and I find that really, really concerning. Initially, Medusa was a very beautiful woman and was widely considered one of the most beautiful women in all of Greece. Now, you would think with that title, it would hold the same weight it holds today with pretty privilege. But back then in ancient Greece, pretty privilege was not a privilege, it was a curse. It was much rather desired to be, like medium pretty, not extremely pretty, because when you're extremely pretty, you already have mortal men trying to get in your ass, but you also have immoral people trying to get in your ass. That's scary. That's scary. So Medusa was this very beautiful woman. But not only that, something very important to the story, she was also a priestess of Athena. Okay. So one day, some way, somehow, maybe she was walking along the coast looking at the water, hanging out by the beach trying to catch a tan, but some way, somehow, Poseidon caught a glimpse of her. And from that point forward, he decided in his mind that he had to have her. And unfortunately, in mythology, whenever a mortal demigod, immortal man says that he has to have a woman, unfortunately, he usually ends up getting her consensually or non-consensually. Most of the time, it's non-consensually. So one day, Poseidon corners Athena more or less and chases her all the way to Athena's temple. And she runs inside and prays to the goddess, asking for help, asking for protection, and is saying, I don't want this man, come get your fucking uncle. And this is where the two versions come in, right? One version suggests that Athena was very disgusted at the mere thought of this even happening in her temple and was offended that she would go and ask her for help and not defend herself. Another version suggests that Athena took pity on Medusa and sought to help her. Either way, in both versions, Athena did not enact divine intervention. She did not step in, stop Poseidon, she did not help her. Poseidon did end up raping her at the end of the day. With the disgusting version of the story, she sought to curse Medusa for not defending herself properly and turned her into a half-woman, half-snake. Right. And the other version that stated that she took pity on her and sought to help her said that she turned her into half-woman, half-snake and gave her the power to turn any man that she saw into stone as a way of protecting her so that it would never happen again. If I were Medusa, I would take this only as a curse, not as a blessing, because how am I have no legs. My legs are now... What am I supposed to do with that? Horrified at the sight of herself, she sought self-isolation, and she found a very low populated island and just lived out the rest of her days there. Except that didn't happen. You would think that a woman who leaves where she's from to move to a very isolated island would just want peace and the message would get across. The issue is, however, the reason as to why she left is exactly the reason why she was never undisturbed. When you are transformed into a beast that can kill somebody with one glance, you are made to be a target of any kind of Greek hero trying to find notoriety. And many tried, and many failed, except for one, Perseus. He who we talked about in the last video. And in the last video, the goddess who helped Perseus decapitate and kill Medusa is the same woman who cursed her in the first place. Some would say that she took pity on her and was like, you know what, that was kind of fucked up on my part. I'm gonna put you out of your misery. The other side felt like she was kind of over it and just wanted Medusa to be off Earth. I don't know. But, like I mentioned in the Perseus video, two beings came out of her neck. when her head was cut off. Pegasus and Chrysaor. Pegasus the winged horse and Chrysaor the giant golden warrior. Why, you may ask, these things came out of her neck? Because it's not in the fucking movie. Medusa became pregnant by Poseidon after he raped her, unbeknownst to literally everybody, because she was on that island by herself for a long time, way past 9 months. So when these two things came out of her neck, it was like, okay, I guess it makes sense. Poseidon is not only the god of the seas, but also the god of horses. He was the first god to give horses to humans. The giant bit, I don't really understand. Maybe if it was a Cyclops, there could have been a bit of a connection because of Polyphemus, but I don't know. So, as I said before in the Perseus video, once he has the head, he goes back to King Polydectes, who sent him there in the first place, turns him to stone to make him leave his mama alone, and that's that. Once Perseus is done changing all of his enemies to stone, he gives the head to Athena. And this is where I get kind of confused. With being a god, I feel like she could have taken the head of Medusa, put it back on the body, screwed that bitch on like a bottle cap, reanimated her, taken the curse away from her, and she could have lived her own life peacefully with no kind of turmoil, right? Even if she didn't want to do it, you could have gotten Prometheus, could have let him get off the eagle rock mound, whatever, for like 10 minutes and let him do that and then put it back on. But alas, that would be too, sensical. So Athena takes the head of Medusa and just puts it on her shield like a fucking croc gem. And that's the end of Medusa's story. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All because she was cute. All because she was cute. Well, that's the end of the story of Medusa. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.